Why does God remove people from your life? Well, there are several reasons why. The first is what I would like to call addition by subtraction. There are instances where God has to remove someone from your life so that he can enlarge your territory. A story is told of a pastor who had been called to take over a small congregation. This was a church that had less than 100 members, but when he got there, he encountered great difficulty. A lot of people were difficult to work with. A lot of people were fighting him as he tried to do the work of God. And so this pastor and his wife prayed and fasted, asking the Lord for direction. Now, the Lord opened his eyes and spoke to his heart, and it came to light that there was a lot of division in and among the members of this church. But there was a core group that stirred up a lot of the division in that church. Now, the pastor worked hard, and through prayer, this group of about 20 members left one by one as they didn't agree with the changes that the pastor was enforcing. After that core group left, the congregation was even smaller. It nearly halved. But with those that remained, there was a sweet spirit that began to cover that church. Those that were left were united. They became a church that prayed together, a church that loved one another, but more importantly, they became a church that genuinely sought after the presence of God. Within a year, the church grew from just about 50 members to over 300. That congregation continued to grow until they had over 1,000 members. Now, the lesson here is that some people had to go because they were hindering the work of God, and they had to leave. When it looked like the church was losing, it looked like the church was shrinking, but God was in fact working to uproot the weeds that were hindering his church. How about in our lives? Who are the people that God needs to subtract in your life so that he can enlarge your territory? Who are some of the people that are hindering God's work within your life? Who is it that's holding you back? Be careful that you are not holding on to people who God wants to subtract from your life. God can remove people from your life because he wants you to grow, because he wants you to flourish in him. Now, moving on, God can and often does remove people from our lives in order to fulfill his plan. When we give our lives to God, we are giving him permission to do his will in our lives.